Hey everyone, Steve here. Today we're going to do another in the box review, or just see what's in the box. And we're going to look at this beastie. It's the Bobcat Models IL-28T. Interesting subject. The T is for torpedo, so it's not your standard bomber, and it's not a standard kit. It's not too many Bobcat kits out, so let's have a look and see what's in the box and what the parts look like. All right, so let's open this puppy up, and we can see we have the instructions. Quite a large decal sheet. And decals are very shiny. We'll look at those in a minute. Let me grab a knife to open these up. Alright, look at this lovely stuffed box. Alright, let's take a look. Oh, I don't need a knife for this one. I got the old glued at the bottom. Alright, so here we have some of the cockpit details. I don't know if you can see any of this. There's some really nice tread pattern here. And some of the cockpit sidewall, some of the radio. A little bit of a soft plastic. I'm looking for, these look like the insides of the gear bay doors, and it looks like they've done a good job with hiding the ejector pin marks, which is nice. You don't have to be mucking about with those, because there's some really nice detail on the inside of the bay doors with rivets and whatnot. I don't know if you can, let's see if we can get this to focus in on the tire pattern. Looks really good. And some of the interior parts as well. Very nice. Very cool, cool, cool. Let's have a look at this sprue here. And this one has the tail planes, which are, okay, tail planes are single piece. They're not two halves, but the elevators, sorry, the horizontal stabilizers, but the tail plane is two pieces. Got a bit of the tail parts here with the tail turret. I think those might be the barrels for the guns, which are not hollowed out. Maybe those will have to be replaced. And some of the background, we got the instrument panel here, which looks really good, and some of the other, so you can see some of this, some of the other interior parts. Surface detail looks really good. It's not pebbly at all. It's not super shiny, but it's not that pebbly, grainy stuff that's not very good if you're making a bare metal surface, because then you have to sand everything. You just never get it smooth. But this doesn't look too bad at all. Those little parts. Those will go on to the next sprue. There it is. There we go. Sorry for the noise. Alright. This one has got the two different types of torpedoes on it that this type can carry. And looks like the wing tanks as well. Pylons, radome. It's all pretty good molds on it. There's some nice detail. The sprue attachments and the plastic kind of remind me of, I don't know, the late 90s, early 2000s Revell, when they started going the more detailed stuff like the Catalina and that, where it was pretty detailed, but the sprue, the plastic was a little soft. This kind of reminds me of that, but the detail looks pretty sweet. Pretty sweet indeed. Let's open up this other one. Bigger components. Okay. These look like the engine nasals and some of the jet intake and whatever that. So there's no ejector pin marks, I think, that will be seen. Maybe a little in there, but we'll have to look at the instructions to see if that's actually going to make a difference. But the surface detail is really nice. There's fine engraving. Let's see if we can get into any of that. If this can actually focus in. You see some of that stuff. It looks pretty good. Pretty good. And we'll look at the sprue with the wings. Yeah. And it looks good, looks good. Some strengthening ribs in there, which I do not see. Well, there is a little bit of a shallow here. So these, looks like these strengthening bits here create a little bit of a sink mark in through that. I don't know if we can capture that or not. Let's have a look. You can see in here, just in here, slight deformation on both of them from the heavy plastic sections on the side here. So that's not too bad though. That seems to be the only spot. So a little bit of filling and sanding isn't that bad for that. I can live with that. Anyway. All right. Now, second last sprue. It's the fuselage. Let's get this puppy open. We'll have a look. Mainly the meat and potatoes here. All right, and the fuselage. It's got some Bombay detail, but I don't think we'll see too much of that. We'll have to look at the instructions and see what. There's the door. Oh, that's from, I think, the top here of the fuselage, because it's a funny cockpit layout with the pilot sitting in the back, and then there's sort of a navigator bombardier in the front. But the surface detail is nice. The lines aren't overly done. There's not much rivet detail, only rivet detail on the on some of the small panels. We can zoom in on this, see if we can get some detail on that. Not too bad. Not too bad at all. I'm not going to look at that. Now, the clear. And the clear can, because this has a glazed nose, this clear can be, hopefully it's not too bad. Okay, well, it's pretty thick. I'm going to pull this box over here. I don't know if you can see any of this. But the clear is not super clear. It's got two different noses. I'm not sure which one will be used in this kit, but yeah, the parts are pretty thick indeed. And I don't know what we can do. We'll maybe do a little polish on it to see if we can get them clear and dip them in some future, but those are going to be tricky to, because they're it's not an easy mold, this nose piece to get, but the canopy could be clear, but we'll see what we can do. Let's have a quick look at the instructions and the decal sheet. All right, let's get rid of this. Okay. So instructions, the instructions. Typical parts layout. And you start with the cockpit. Looks like there's a number of parts for the seat, which is nice to have some detail there. And it just basically goes through your standard layout. There's a lot of detail on the torpedoes, which is nice as well. And it's got the funky ball turret in the back, which is cool. Another thing that makes this particular subject, you know, interesting is it's vintage and its layout. So that's very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah, and the jet engines, it's just got the pipe through it. Yeah. Pretty standard looking construction, and you see with the cockpit, you can see the layout here with the two seats, pilot in the back and then navigator bombardier in the front. And he's got, if I remember correctly, yep, there's a hatch. He's got a hatch above him to get out, so that can be open. Yeah, it looks like a pretty decent kit. Marking options. What do we have? Looks like we got a bunch of Russian. Oh, and there's some Chinese ones as well. That's cool. They're all basically, except for the last Chinese one, looks like they're all your basic bare metal. Except this one looks like it has some camouflage on the bottom, which is U. It's probably a gray or a sky. Let's have a quick look to see if we can figure that one out. U. It's gray. Yeah, so it's got a gray underneath, but still the silver on top. Is that right? T. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's maybe it's something different. Olive drab. Ooh, that's different. So this one's got olive drab on top with the gray underneath, so camouflage. I think I like this, the bare metal one though. And then the markings from the top plane. And let's look close look at these decals here. They are very, very shiny. And it looks like, now my experience with a Kitty Hawk MiG-25, the actual decal sheet that I had for that, the stars were slightly off, not off registration, but weren't even on the carrier film. There was the edge was, they were unusable, so I had to replace them. These ones, I mean, this is Bobcat, and it looks like they're on the carrier film. They are very shiny, so I don't know if maybe I can get a masking set and paint them, because if I'm going to do an aluminum finish on it, having this is not going to look that great. And then the numbers as well. Great big swaths of blocks of carrier film underneath. So either cutting them out individually, which I'm not a big fan of doing. So maybe again a masking set to paint the numbers on the markings. But anyway, so I'm excited about this kit. It's something that it's been long overdue in this scale. There was the old Airfix Beagle in 72nd scale, and I believe Trumpeter released one in 72nd scale not that long ago. But to have one in 48, hey, 2 thumbs up. Maybe they'll come out with just the bomber version. I am planning on building this. I'm going to get the Edward set for the cockpit and see where we can go from there. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. If you liked it, hit the subscribe so you can see some more videos, and hit the notification button so you don't miss anything. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. See you out.